Hello, people. Coach Stacy Lynn here. Hey, you know what? Today I want to show you my dog. Here he is. This is Grover. He's pretty cute. He's old. He's 15, and he's mostly blind and a little bit deaf. But isn't he cute as a button? Yeah, he is. He's especially cute when he's in my lap. So, if you're new to the channel, welcome. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about limitations. And here's why. Because I found myself today getting irritated with myself because of my own limitations. And I had to come home after playing pickleball today and think about, why was I so upset? Because I was. So if you're new to the channel, I am Certified Master Christian Life Coach Stacy Lynn Harp, and the purpose of this channel is to offer you hope, encouragement to deal with your issues, to recover from trauma, and all that. And I like to coach from a distinctly biblical perspective. So let's talk about Grover first. Grover is 15 years old and mostly deaf and cute as a button, and he's got really bad cataracts because, Bijans, which is what he is. Bijans are very prone to cataracts and, unfortunately, blindness. And, over the years, as I've watched my dog decline because he's older, he used to be a puppy. He'd run, he'd bark, he'd be all excited. He was a doorbell, he would go and fetch and all that. And over the years, as he lost his vision, I watched him slowly kind of decline. You're right. He can no longer fetch. He no longer runs to jump in my car. He doesn't even like car rides anymore because the movement, I think, scares him because he can't see. And I've watched this dog adjust to his limitations. And it's been very sad. And at the same time, I have a lot of compassion for my little puppy here because he's still my puppy. And he's old. He's an old puppy, as a friend of mine started calling him. And then I started calling him that. And it got me thinking about my limitations and your limitations and how you deal with your own limitations. And I know for me, as I've gotten older, one of the things that has become really clear to me is that I have light sensitivity. I've had it my whole life, but didn't really know it because in California, the sky was really blue. And even though I suffered with anxiety my whole life, I never knew that my vision, my eyes were the cause of it. When I moved to Tennessee, all of a sudden, I started getting migraines, and the white sky here tends to overwhelm me. And it was a couple of years ago that I discovered from an eye doctor that I have blonde retinas, which means that I basically have no protection for light. And even sitting here with a big light on my face is actually bugging me a little bit. But where it really, really has caused me some issues, especially as I've gotten older, is with driving and when I play pickleball. Now, if you're not driving as much, that limits you to where you can go. And so for me, my world has really condensed because of that. And then with pickleball, the gym is very bright and I can't wear my glasses in there because it's like looking through a refracting bulb where you get lights bouncing off everything, and it just magnifies it, so it makes it worse. And so I've been very limited with pickleball, and I've really struggled with it, so much so that I have been depressed about it and like, okay, how do I overcome this? How do I deal with these limitations? And that's what I want to talk to you about, because I know all of us struggle with things and we don't always talk about them. This is something that I've started to talk about because I realize that I'm not the only one that deals with it. In fact, it was a Facebook community that I found that actually gave me a lot of validation, because I was like, oh, that's what's going on. And I had no idea that other people dealt with this too. But I tell you, as a believer, when you are stuck in your mind and you're discouraged and you're overwhelmed, the enemy will come in and try to attack you and bring you down, right? So what I want to do is I want to validate, number one, that we all have limitations. So if you have something that hinders you, just realize that it's normal, because everybody has limitations. And unfortunately, as you get older, you're going to have more limitations, right? I mean, it's just how it is. God didn't create our physical bodies to live forever. And as somebody said, I think it was in the movie What About Bob, we're all slowly dying every day. Which I know isn't uplifting, but it is true, right? So here is something I want to let you know. So number one, limitations are a part of life. They're part of normal life. The thing is some people in our culture, they will identify as their limitation. I'm going to say something, it may step on a couple of toes, and I don't care. Because it's true, I don't care. I would say the neurodivergent community, that's how they identify. They identify as that limitation. They're like, hey, I'm neurodivergent. And because of it, you have to suck it up and bow to everything in my world, because that's my limitation. People who struggle with anxiety or depression or whatever physical disability they might have, many people do that. They identify and they call themselves that. Here's the truth, though. That isn't who you are if you're a Christian. If that's how you identify yourself as a Christian, then the enemy has won, because your identity isn't in your disability or your difficulty or your limitation. Your identity as a Christian is as a child of God. Period. End of statement. And until you get that truth in your head, you will always identify as whatever that issue is. Okay, so number one. Number two, for me, I've had to learn that it's okay for me to say my body deserves compassion, not criticism. And a lot of people today are talking about their nervous system. So for me, with light sensitivity, I have a lot of light will come through my eyes. It will make me physically feel overwhelmed. So I've had to learn how to calm down my nervous system, because it really is a physical issue with me. It's not psychological. It impacts me that way, but the cause of it is completely physical. So today, when I went to play pickleball, I only stayed for one game. And I came home and I was feeling bad about it. I was like, man, it took me forever to get there, to finally drive, because the sky's been really overwhelming lately. And rather than me coming home and going, hey, you did it, you played a great game, and, you conquered your anxiety just getting there, I was like feeling irritated with myself that I couldn't play more than one game. That's the reason I'm making this video. Because I was thinking, I wonder how many other people beat themselves up because of their limitation. That's why I'm giving you the pep talk that I gave myself. So ultimately for me, the reason was that I had to calm down my nervous system. So I don't want to walk around, hey everybody, I'm feeling physically overwhelmed right now. I need to calm down my nervous system, so I'm leaving. I could. And there would be some people who might understand that. But unless you really struggle with light sensitivity and you understand this issue, it might sound weird. But that's my issue. So the other thing is, though, I have to be gentle with myself as I navigate my limitations. And the reality is, it's a physical limitation. So my question would be, if I saw somebody who had bad vision and they were walking with a walking cane and they were walking slowly to try to navigate, would I be like all criticizing them because of it? Would I be like, hey, you need to hurry up. You need to stop walking so slow and touching everything in front of you. Suck it up, buttercup. Would I do that to that person? Or my friend George, who has a hearing aid, I have to speak loud around him because he can't hear. And he often takes out his hearing aid. I think sometimes just so he can't hear. But I've learned that's what his limitation is. He can't hear as well. And so when we're playing a game, if he doesn't say the score, it's probably because he doesn't know it in some cases. But I'm not going to say to George, suck it up, George. You know what? Just because you can't hear me doesn't mean, And he wouldn't say anything mean to me either. And yet we do it to ourselves. So you got to be a friend to yourself, right? You got to remember your identity is in who Christ is. And then the other thing is, I'm trying to look at my notes here. Your limitations might shape who you are, but they don't define you, and you are stronger than your limitations. Going back to my dog Grover here, who wants to get down now. You know what? Grover doesn't complain. He's never once complained to me that he can't see. He hasn't said, hey Stacy, I can't see very well, so that's why, I'm just going to sit here and do nothing. No, he has figured out how to navigate the world that I have him in. And in fact, whenever we take him anywhere, the first thing he'll do is he'll map the room out with his nose. He'll bump into everything to figure out where he's at. And it's really, really inspiring, actually, when I think about it, because he's been such an example to me that, you know what, if there's an obstacle in his way, he'll hit his head and he'll go, okay, and then he'll walk, and if he runs into it again, he'll go, okay, I know where that is, and he'll continue to navigate his limitation, because that's what dogs do, okay? Just saying. We as human beings were created in God's image, and we have higher thinking and capability than an animal does. God put us, God told us to rule the animals. I think some people take that a little far. I think some people don't take it far enough. But for the purpose of this video, though, is to offer you some encouragement in the face of your limitation. Because physical limitations are a reality. I know people, as they've gotten older, who they fall more, they don't hear as good, they don't see as well. For me, my limitation is that I get overwhelmed by a lot of light. I get overwhelmed by a lot of stimuli. And so I have to make provisions for myself so that I don't feel overwhelmed. And I can't just, I'm getting better at just saying, you know what, I have to limit myself. And basically, I used to go to a church where the church had so many lights in it that I actually, before we left that church, I actually sat in the foyer for a while because I couldn't deal with the lights. It was just too bright. And then you have a lot of cars today that have LED lights, and LED lights trigger people who have light sensitivity, and super high bright headlights. It's one of the things I learned. If you deal with something like light sensitivity like I do, there's about 20% of the population that have blonde retinas like I do. But there's a lot of the population that does have sensory issues. And so, if you have this issue, then you have to make provisions for your limitation. And frankly, I think there needs to be more of a discussion about it, which is part of the reason I'm being vulnerable here and sharing with you my struggle. It's not easy. It's not easy. I've had to rethink through a lot of other things. And I just want to encourage you that if you are somebody that struggles with light sensitivity or overwhelming sensations because of who you are, you're not alone. And there actually are support groups out there. And I'd be happy to talk with you too. If you need to talk about it and how you deal with it, I can give you more tips on how to deal with it. On the days when you feel bad, here's what I want to tell you. On those days, feel it. Just feel it. I think a lot of times people feel physically overwhelmed and it causes them to feel emotionally overwhelmed. And we're taught in our society, don't cry, don't feel, right? And that's not what I teach at all. In fact, I teach the opposite. I teach you how to think clearly because how you think impacts how your feelings are, right? You can think your way out of a bad situation. It's hard to feel your way out of it because feelings overwhelm people. Thinking can lead to overwhelming feelings. Thinking can also lead to calm feelings. So part of processing, though, your feelings through your body is understanding that your body was created to feel. And if you're not actually feeling or crying, you might need to, because that will actually help reduce your anxiety. It does me. And for me, it also helps with the pain in my neck that is triggered by light, which causes a migraine in the back of my neck. So it's like, okay, if I can physically feel that, then my body will begin to relax. I also learned something really interesting, that if you drink club soda and you struggle with anxiety, you actually will have a calmer, your body will tend to relax more because of the carbonation that you're drinking. So that's just a kind of a fun tip. I learned that recently. It was so weird because that's my primary drink besides coffee in the morning is club soda. So check that out. Just saying. All right. Well, I hope this helped you. It is December 10th, Wednesday. And I want to remind you that Heart Tug International, we are trying to reach our end of the year goal. We're only about $900 short now of our goal, which was $2,500. So if you're interested in helping us meet that and you want to go to hearttug.org, you can donate there. I would encourage you to donate to the coaching so that people who want to coach but they don't have the funds, there's some money in there if you care about that. And or if you need to be encouraged and have a little bit of coaching till the end of this month, up to 3 sessions, you can donate whatever you want. And I'd be happy to set up an appointment with you, because that is where my heart is. And actually, when I was talking to somebody about this issue, one of the things that they asked me is, what are you going to do with it? And I said, you know what I'm going to do with this? I am going to learn how I can help more people with light sensitivity issues, because it's an issue where people aren't talking about it, and yet people are being impacted by it, either because they do know and they feel alone in it, or maybe they don't know and they need to be educated about it. Because for me, nobody told me. I just learned this a couple years ago. So don't fret. Allow yourself to feel. Consider your limitations and realize that limitations are part of life. Everybody has them. Embrace what yours are and grow through them, but don't let them control you. You control them and how you respond to them. I guess you can't actually control the limitation, but you can control how you respond to it. So for me today, I was like, okay. At first I was beating myself up. I was overwhelmed driving, got to pickleball. I played a game. I had fun, but I left after one game. I wanted to stay longer, but my nervous system, I just couldn't. I just could not. And rather than go, hey, Stace, you did great, blah, my thing was, man, and then I had to stop and reframe, because the reality is, for me, I have to work my way back up to it. And learn to tolerate it more. And that's okay. It's not easy, but it's okay. That's my limitation. And I got to learn from it. And I really do believe that God allows us each to have more limitations. And I think the ultimate reason why is because I think it teaches us to rely on Him more. At least that's what I've learned. So let me know what your thoughts are. And as I always say, I hope you have a better day.